Good morning. Welcome, everybody.
Morning, everyone.
Episode 16, couple of kooks. We talk about stuff and things.
Talk about stuff.
Yeah. Got the people here. Ron, good to see you. Good morning, sir.
Morning,
Maloney.
Ron.
Good morning, sir.
Good, buddy.
Kanan's already rumbled into the stream, so the wasteland.
Oh, yeah, it was early today.
Exceptional today. That's nice. Ground Slayer. Renee. Raj. Herbly to be who? Well, and he's still the Kanan. They still have the Sentinel heads. This is ridiculous.
Hi, Mom. Good morning, Shanna.
Wild and crazy kooks. Legend. Good morning, Tony.
Series.
Good morning, sir. Morning, Moo.
Good morning, Mom.
Dan. Good to see you. JB. What's up, sir?
Justin.
Alta says, "Helly guys."
At some point, she'll get both words correct together.
Well, one of these days.
She's working on it.
She's on YouTube. I've not seen her come through on YouTube though. Usually it's Facebox.
I know. It's awesome. She is engaged.
Whoa. I'm impressed. Just saying, I'm impressed. Well, we've had a hell of a week.
You know what?
Both of us did get some painting done though. That's good.
I have been super focused on painting this week.
You have. It's a lot of things you have painted in the bunker. many things.
Yeah, I'll show a little preview here, but just to get it out of the way, the last couple of times we've shown the armor, the Astro suit, and a couple of people, including our good buddies at Kanan, had mentioned that a Deep 6 option would be pretty cool. So I did a little 3D magic, and I painted something up here. So how about that?
Ooh, what a lovely tea party.
So if you still want to get an Astro suit, but you would rather have the Deep 6 version, I can do that. There's also
and the color they're printed in really isn't that different than what you have there. This is one of them. It's a pretty light gray.
Yeah. After the work I've done here lately, I would really recommend shooting some kind of paint over it. Here's the backpack for Deep 6. It's double tank, and it's got a hole in top in case you want to put a hose, going for photography or whatever, so it looks like it's going to the surface. I don't have all the pockets on this one, and I haven't routed the hoses. Kind of threw this together this morning after I let it dry all night. So the Aqua suit is available. If you guys want one, hit me up. Zakana, I know we talked about it. If you want one, I can just ship it directly to you. However you want to do that. That's true with anybody. Ground Slayer, if you decide you want to go this route. These will all be printed in a light gray. From here on out, unless somebody requests something, I don't have any red clay resin right now, so I can't do any in brown. If I can do light gray, I can do a medium gray, but actually the light gray is really nice. I was able to spray this. This paint here is it is Montana black. The color is called Jaws. So that is That's all we got. I'll go back to this one more time and show this one more time. If you order the Deep Six kit, if you would rather have it, you will get the that Action Assault head without the mustache. So Astro suit gets the mustache guy. This one will get one so that you can paint him to be like Deep Six. All right, it's got the hood on it.
I'm gonna do that one and a Night Force Deep Six that he just made up.
Okay. You just made it up. That's great. I'm not going to object, Z. So if you want to, however many of these you want, you just let me know. I'd be happy to.
We're very accommodating at a couple of kooks.
We are, and a lot of that is because I would like to. I would like to sell some so that I can buy some more resin and work on some other projects. Speaking of projects, I'm going to give you a quick view of what I've got. Just a small part of the work area that I'm using right now. Just a few different armor colors that I'm doing.
Nice.
Yeah. I will not zoom in, but one of those is a commission. One is my Alpha Star 1 pilot, the Spaceman. That's going to be my copy of it. It's just rough and black right now. I just got started working on the glow effects for the armor. Deep Sixes is the glow effects. I think that really matched with him. So he does not have it. His are just black and on mine, but you see that that red armor. It's got a really nice glow to it, and the army green one will have a glow to it, but it will also. I'm gonna do it kind of a World War II military look
cool.
to it.
Tim Largo's here. Good morning, sir.
Largo. So that is. I get that off the stage there. So. So that's kind of what we've been working on. Just as before we get into the rest of the show, Mikey and I have talked about what we're going to be offering at AR, and hopefully next show we can give you a preview of what we'll have for AR. There will be an overall update to the spacesuit, slightly different chest piece, and we're going to do something a little better with the lower legs, something a little sleeker. Side profile is just about perfect, but the front's pretty clunky. And the idea in world, canon, the idea is the Mark V is just the 5th iteration of this suit. So you would imagine the Mark 1 and 2 were probably pretty clunky. The jet boot thing took a while to design, so they had the original design. So the Mark 6 will be the kind of the final iteration of the Astro suit. Then there are accessories that work with it. These boots will work with one of the accessory kits that you'll be able to get, which is a kind of a heavy gunner platform. It rides on his back, and you'll want those heavier boots to lock them in. So that will all be explained as we go.
Oh yeah. Largo says it's awesome to see the crossover of sci-fi and fantasy into military type figures. We love that.
I love the idea, especially when I did 1/6 stuff, and even when Mikey and I were doing it. We really liked having the idea of. I love the idea of like those movies. There's an animated movie that was kind of like World of Worlds, but like Teddy Roosevelt was one of the main characters, and Tesla was in it, and it was like kind of this World War I steampunk mashup with the War of the Worlds. I love that stuff. I think that is so cool. So the idea that, taking something that's very futuristic and then giving it a look like maybe it was from World War II. Plus, it's really hard to beat World War II color schemes. That you have so many different things you could do.
There's a lot
I mean,
there.
basically, you could do, you could do airplanes where you have the Pacific versus European theater striping on the plane to know what theater it is. I want to do something like this because there are some. Mikey's going to be working on some stuff, and I'm going to work on some stuff. And it'd be cool to have a thematic kind of thing. When the flight suit comes out, that will be the flight pack. That will also broaden that horizon to where we could do a whole different situation there. But that's kind of what I got cooking on the deck right now. There's also thematically probably do a steel web homage.
That'd be cool.
And what I really want to tackle is a Star Brigade Destro. Really like to do that.
That sounds pretty good. Zakanan says alternate history is my jam.
Me too. I love just this is very specific, but I love Harry Turtledove. I love the work that he does. Good stuff. Guns of the South is pretty cool, and his World War II series is awesome.
Very cool. Hey,
if you're into book reading.
Morning, James. Appreciate you, sir. Peter Malone. Good morning,
James,
sir.
Peter.
Jim says, shout out to Mikey on his contributions to Monster Force and other cool, fantastic figure customs. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, he's quite amazing.
Very nice. Thank you.
He's pretty good.
Hopefully I get to do some more stuff with them because I like what they're doing. Andrew says, I still need to get one. You do. Just message that guy.
Message me on Facebook or Instagram. I'm old. I have a lot of trouble with Instagram and getting it to do the things that I think should be easy. So I kind of go with Messenger. I check it pretty regular. I get notifications on it. I don't like getting notifications on Instagram. You guys are way too active for me.
Yeah, for me too, honestly.
I love seeing what everybody's up to. I like just going to your pages and see what you've been doing. But what ends up happening is I get I don't know, Thursday, I got 75 or 80 dings on my phone letting me know that somebody did something and you should check it out. Somebody looked at a page you were looking at. Ding. Oh, God, stop.
Well, this week was exceptional for notifications on the phone.
It was.
A little heavy. It was a little extra heavy.
It was. There was
a lot going on. Yeah.
There was a lot going on.
Oofed. Yeah. Cyndi Lauper song comes to mind, but I won't talk about it. Largo says, might be an unpopular opinion, but I love Star Brigade. Joe's in Space was cool. Joe's in Space is still cool, and I will die on that hill.
I don't think it's unpopular at all. I loved it. I didn't necessarily like the execution of the armored ones.
The
concept is great, and that's why I want to do this suit. I'd like to. I mean, that's what started this whole thing was us doing those Buzz Lightyear Star Brigade customs.
Yep.
So now I've taken the time. I built my own version of that. So now it's time to do it. And because of the way we do heads and the way we built this figure to go on a Destro, you can use any classified figure you want. You can make it Duke.
Yeah. Joe's in Space is cool. Astromechs are cool. The Space Bat is one of my favorite things from that line. The figure
it's gorgeous.
Sucks butthole, but I love that figure. I always have. Chad Zombie Finger eats cats for dinner. I'm oldish too. Still struggle with Instagram.
Yeah, it's just.
I'm I'm 35 and I don't struggle with Instagram, but I don't try to keep up. Most of my notifications are silenced, and I check them to make the little red thing go away. I just like looking at pictures. I'm terrible about responding. You'll send me something, I'll look at it, I'll probably laugh, but if I react, probably not. I just don't.
Right. So for me, it's way easier to hit me up on Messenger, on Facebook Messenger. I answer that, and if you don't do Facebook, you know, force28x@gmail.com. That's my email. You email me directly. I check it always too. I have plenty of stuff going on there. And honestly, you know, if there's something else, this Deep Six thing, I think 5 different people suggested that they might paint theirs like Deep Six.
Yeah. That was pure fan. That was pure you guys that did that.
Yeah.
Willed that.
In fact, the day you guys probably saw on Facebook for Mikey's birthday, I met Mikey and Zakanan at Mikey's hometown, and we went out to eat, and we talked about it, and he brought that up, and I think of the next day I started on it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Hell yeah.
Well, Legos are kind of awesome. So,
Ken, I wish that was the worst of it.
You know, Ken, I noticed that, and I was trying to find a way where those would be the only notifications I would get, but I couldn't figure it out, so I just shut them off.
Zakane wants to know if there's any plans to put it on the website.
Yeah, when I was up there, and Mikey takes some good pictures of the completed kits. I already took pictures of the Sci-Fi Dragonsky, and now I need to lay this kit out to take pictures of it. And now the Deep Six version. I guess it's an Aqua Suit Mark 1. But we'll do it. You see on the Aqua Suit, you don't have the shoulder pads. You don't need those. You don't need those with this kit. The sets you can see in the, let me pull this image back up. You can see in this image. No, that's not the image I wanted, but we can use it. You can see here the arm set's high enough up. Is it coming up? Did I do it wrong? There it is. Sorry. You can see here the shoulder set's high enough. And the reason I like this is if you're using that Destro body, you already have these ridges in the shoulder that are already dark gray if you use that version of Destro. Mm-hmm. So you kind of have that, and then you also have the dark gray down here. It's part of that body, and it doesn't look bad. It all looks really good. You could also, you know, paint the whole body if you wanted
to. Definitely.
But it lent itself really well. So. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, I would love that. I wouldn't mind doing an adventure team version of this in yellow. Would be fun.
I like it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I put a lot of work into it. I'm really proud of it. And Mikey and I went to the hobby store yesterday, and I've been in this whole thing. I've done a ton of, I don't have an airbrush set up yet. So I've been trying to rattle can everything. I've tried different paints and done different things. But at the end of the day, now I've kind of settled into a couple of brands I really like. And of course, when I see the entire, you know, this whole palette of colors I could use, it's like, oh shit, I could do this with this. I could do this with this and this with that. It's, shit. But for AR, there will be some accessories for the suit. And then we're going to have some regular stuff. I don't think we're going to do a classified bash other than this. We didn't have this completely ready at DFW, so technically that will be the show introduction, the first time we have it complete and ready and in bags ready to sell.
Now we had talked about doing Thunder. Do you still want to do a Thunder kit?
Yeah, we will do the Thunder helmet.
You have the hard, but you got the hard part. You got the helmet.
Yeah. So you get the Thunder kit. Will come with a submachine gun. I think we still want to do the Beretta M12.
Yeah, the Modelo 12. Yeah.
The reason for that is the OG Alpine gun, right? That did not come with the classified figure. Thunder didn't really come with a personal PDW, even though he's technically a tank driver. He should have some sort of short 9mm to protect himself. That guy right there. We're going to do the stockless version of it. So you can get that kit, you get the monocle that Thunder came with, and then the helmet. I don't have a picture of it with me, I don't think. But anyway, it's this way you could use that for Alpine, or Thunder could carry it, whatever. And then we are going to do another submachine gun, an alternate rifle for the spacesuit, a sniper rifle for it. There it is. The visor flips up. It doesn't flip up very good, but it does flip up.
This one's not even sanded or anything, so.
Yeah. Tony.
What's up, buddy? Customizers Alliance, unite. Ken, I'm a lover of science fiction. To be honest, it's my first love.
It is mine. It is mine too, Ken. And until I think when I was a teenager, I hadn't really thought about the expansion of science fiction, even though I was a huge Ray Bradbury fan before that. Read some Asimov, which is incredibly detailed, on a different level. But technically, Bradbury stuff really got me. I loved it. And and this is probably true for a lot of us, but until 1986, when the sequel for Alien came out, I had not in my head thought about military science fiction. Like I read like Hammer Slammers, which is a science fiction series about a future group of commandos that have a tank. I read like alternate apocalyptic history stuff. There were several different books out at that time, The Guardians. I never did figure out there was a book when I was a kid that I read, a series that was about this team of Air Force guys after the bombs dropped, and they had NASA suits that were armored, but they were all black, and they had a cannon accessory on the arm that fired what they called an E-ball, and it was just a ball of electricity that would just fire out. So it was just slightly futuristic, but in my head, the mental image of the all black NASA suit just sounded so badass. So I love that kind of stuff, and always have. When I was a little kid, my dad had been a huge sci-fi fan when he was a kid in the 50s. So I was always had that around me. I have a painting that my dad did. Mikey has a copy of it. Has a nice copy of it, thanks to Carson.
Thanks, buddy.
Carson Metaxas. He took my dad's painting and did a high-res scan of it, like he does for the 3D Joe stuff. And the scan he gave us is just beautiful. Awesome. It made it so that Mikey and I could both have a copy of that picture to hang where we wanted it. Part of this office, when it's done, there's going to be a small area over there that I'm calling the inspiration wall, and it's going to have that picture, a gorgeous picture that super simple sketch that George Vega did for Mikey and I a couple of years ago at DFW. That will go on that wall. I just want to be able to look up on here at the desk, look up and see those things that inspire me. I don't want it all to be air space stuff, but right now it all looks like it's going to be air and space stuff. I'll have the Firefox picture on the wall. This was my dad's office. So there is I want to make it my office, but there is a certain connection I feel when I work in this office. It's really crazy how many years I walked through that doorway and he was sitting here doing his thing, and to be sitting pretty close to where he was is it's something. It's something special, and I feel it when I'm in here, especially drawing. I can do the sculpting. I can do that anywhere, man. That is in my head. That is my jam. I can 3D sculpt all day long, CAD, all that stuff. But if I want to do organic art, or I'm trying to be inspired, this room does it for me.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
So sorry, got a little off track there. I'm gonna catch up on a couple of these. Oh, Largo, these kits are you can get the kits from me now, and they will go up on a couple of KUK-Os. But right now, it's just easier if you message me and you want one. The kit is $90. All right, so you get I think 53 pieces in the Astro suit. If it's the Deep Six version, you'll get two less pieces because you won't need the shoulder pads. You get a head, you get our attachment system, a couple of KUK-Os attachment system, which is a grommet and an O-ring that just pop over a ball joint. This is designed to go on a Destro classified figure, so you just get you one of those, you'll have everything you need. You can hop it up. If you have a barbecue figure, you can use the hands off of it, so you have a panel over the hands. You can customize it however you want. But in fact, honestly, guys, I know like everybody is thinking this, but I want to see what you guys come up with. Like, it's something that's just I didn't even think of. I love that. It's so exciting to see somebody take your work and take it to another level. And I know that's probably different than a lot of people in the industry don't necessarily feel that way. Like they feel somehow attacked if somebody does something with their work. But if you buy an unfinished kit from me, I'm expecting you to finish it and make it badass. You know. So anyway,
that may be something we want to do, like our first couple of KUK-Os challenge. Here in a couple of months when people have got some of these, maybe run it a month or two and give a kit away or something to whoever, whichever one we like the best or something.
Yeah, we should talk about that because I think it'd be cool to do something with Tony and his photography like thing, but it'd just be these.
Yeah.
Something like that where we could also work with somebody else in the sphere. I love you guys. So anytime we can work together, do something together, and get everybody involved in a project, I am all for that. I love that shit. So
absolutely.
Let's see.
G-Force made it in.
G-Force, hey man.
Glad to see you.
Oh man, the Forever War is something that I would. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but like Starship Troopers. Robert Hyland. He grew up about 45 minutes from me here at my folks' place. So he was from Butler, Missouri. Starship Troopers was one of the first books I read in science fiction when I was discovering Ray Bradbury. Somebody said, "Hey, well, Robert Hyland, he's from Missouri," and I was like, "Oh, what did he do?" And I was very disappointed. When the movie came out, there were parts of it I loved as its own standalone thing. But the Forever War, how they deal with time and how time moves for the soldiers versus the rest of the universe, man, that is so cool. Like, those guys are hundreds of years old, but they still look like they're in their 30s and 40s because it's the way space travel works. I love that stuff. And the Forever War is one of them that really, really dove into that aspect of it. As Amal talked about time travel, talked about the effects of it and different types. Different books, stories that he wrote have different ways. Bradbury did it too. Everybody's got a different concept on it. Even something as simple as Bradbury's Sound of Thunder. short story. Really, really has a different angle on it. But yeah, Forever War is definitely one of the best. For sure. For sure. And that's what I always loved about it. You know, he was writing stories like that. I was reading them and I was amazed by it. Uh, but I think it was Aliens that really made me think like, I could do this with my GI Joes. Yeah. Because I think when I read Starship Troopers and the Forever War, which I got them both from the library at the same time, back in those days, not only did you have to like, you know, start a car with a crank and stuff, but you also had these places. We had these books, books that were just pieces of paper all bound together, and you could thumb through them. They had pictures and words. But you could go to the library and check out one, like borrow a book. In modern times, I can't even imagine that because right now you could be living next door to somebody and they come over and say, "Hey, can I borrow your lawnmower?" And you don't see it for 5 years, and that's because they have a garage sale and they're selling it. But the thought of just being able to go somewhere and borrow a book, take it home, next week go in, get a couple more. Yeah, I remember the librarian here in the town that's closest to me. Once she found out I was into it, like she would say, "Hey, I traded so and so branch, and we got these in. If you want to check them out," I'd go home with 4 or 5 sci-fi books or horror books, and because you know Bradbury is kind of so.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, I would too. I would too. I think it'd be awesome. You know, it's just what I'm doing. When I was a kid, this would have been called the cottage industry in model building, where you just had these people that were building resin 125th, 124 scale cars, bodies, and stuff like that. We would call that the cottage industry. And that's basically what I'm doing now. I talked to Mikey about this the other day. I've talked to several other people about this. I had really hoped that this would be something to do to really make some money. But people seem to want those stupid jointed dragon crap. That's what they want.
The 3D printed stuff.
Yeah. So that seems to be what people want. And I really want to like zero in. I want to be able to do something and then be able to do this stuff to where I can have time to do it. And if somebody wants something a little different, I can do it. We talked about Maggie and I also talked about in 3D printing when you do it, when someone wants you to print something for them, but all they have is a picture. That's not just me putting it on the. I can't put a photograph on the 3D printer and it prints.
Not yet.
Magically create it to the exact specifications you want. So you know, when somebody asks, you know, always remember I'm going to have to 3D model it and print it. It might take me a couple of tries to get the print right, to get it in the right orientation and stuff. Not that you should have to pay for me dialing my machine in. I'm just saying, you know, there's some time and some effort put into doing that. So I had somebody not very long ago had asked me to do a Warhammer custom, but he wanted me to sculpt it and everything. And when I told him it'd probably be about $50 for me to design an entire, and he's like, "Well, man, it's just a miniature." Yeah, but time's time. You know, when I model something, I'm modeling it to scale, but it doesn't matter what the scale is. It's the same amount of lines on the screen, same amount of measurement, same amount of surfacing. It doesn't matter if it's I've printed out this big or this big. I still have to do all of that, the same amount of work. So the material cost is actually not too bad. I mean, it's bad for me because
not on design. No.
No.
I mean, design.
Yeah, but even printing it out, like, you know, the size difference, like, you know, it is for me because I buy a half gallon at a time of some of these resins. When I lock in on one that is really good, like this smoky white and the clay, the darker gray, it's like a dark blue gray that I print all the weapons in for these kits. Those three are like my favorites. And then not very long ago, I tried some a company called Frozen, Phrozen, I believe. And their resin, it's about, I don't know, $10 a kilogram higher than this other stuff, but my God, it's just beautiful resin. And they have some really cool colors. They have like a blue, kind of a burgundy color, and a purple, and an army green. But the thing is, I don't mind printing the stuff in those colors, but most of this stuff isn't really UV. I mean, you cure it with UV, right? So if you leave it exposed to UV, it's eventually going to over cure and start to become start to become brittle and break or crumble apart.
Yeah.
So you really do want to put some kind of coating on this when you get it. So even though the color may not be exactly what you want, or the chest piece the pieces may look like a little different shade, it doesn't matter. You should do a little research, figure out what color works best, and spray you some color. This last couple of weeks, I've used Montana Black. I have tried the Rust-Oleum thing, and honestly, if you're doing like classified vehicles, maybe even O-ring size 1/18 vehicles, you probably get away with it. But on these parts, there's just so much detail and so much that I want you to be able to see, and the luster of the paint is so finicky. Like it says it's satin, but if it doesn't dry right, it comes out glossy or with patches. It's just you buy a paint that is made for things this scale, like miniature paint or actual model paint, you're way better off. I do not still have mine. Yes, that makes me feel good. That is I think sometimes, Largo, it's a matter of when you sit down, you do design intent, and you're like, what do I want this to look like? Do I want this to look like a something like my dad would have seen or imagined? We were talking about Starship Troopers earlier, and a fun thing to do is to go look at all of the different covers that have been painted for that book, right? That are all the different visuals of the armor, what it looked like. And that kind of gives you a good idea. Am I designing something that's supposed to look like it was futuristic in the 50s, like Fallout, the Fallout game, how the cars look, is that what I'm looking for? For these, I really wanted a maybe 50, 60 years in the future look. I always think when I'm doing, what I really like to do is in my head, if I'm doing design work and I'm drawing stuff out and I'm doing aliens, I like to kind of go vintage, retro on the alien designs. The Flash Gordon style ray guns and stuff, just because that's a good place to put it. So it really depends on what I'm working on. I love retro sci-fi, Buck Rogers, and Flash Gordon. I love that stuff. I think that's really cool. Even the stuff in the Fallout game, the background stuff that the pictures on the wall, how they do that with that kind of armor, with the whichever you prefer. I'll say T60 now, but it's whichever armor you prefer in the game. But yeah, I mean, it's just they have a retro look to them. They don't look super advanced. And when we started this, it's the funny thing is we started it at one place and it has changed just like state of the art military and during a war would change. So we'll just update the suit. You still get the vintage suit if you like it, or you can get the new hotness. You look at all the armors Iron Man's had, in the comics over the years. Everybody's got a go-to, and it doesn't matter how many other armors have come out since then. That's their go-to, and you're always going to like that
one. Very true.
Barry Levin, Charlie. Good morning, Cliff. Oh, he started working on his first diorama yesterday.
Oh, right on, man.
That's awesome.
Dude, those trees are freaking great, dude. You did so good on those, man.
So anyway, that's kind of, I guess that's about that. There will be, eventually there will be an armored helmet version for this kit. It'll probably be in the heavy artillery set. Pieces. So that is, that's kind of what we're going to do with it. It will continue. And Clay, if you talk about that, I got to put something together here in the next couple of days to do some background diorama type stuff for these armors. I really just want it to look really cool. So that's the update for the couple of KUK's design stuff going on.
Right on.
I'm not sure. I just want to hit it again. Full kit, unfinished, cloudy helmet, right off the printer, $90 shipped, US. If you're outside of the US, we'll talk about it. You cover the difference and we're good. Ray Murphy in Ireland, he got his kit this week. He was really happy with it.
Nice.
He thought it was great. I think it cost me about $35, I think, to ship it to Ray to Ireland. And that was priority trackable and all that. And the way that the USPS has priority mail set up to overseas is way easier than you used to have to do it. You used to have to fill out a customs form and all that. All that information is in the barcode that they scan. So it's just a bigger label, slightly bigger label with more information on it for the other people to scan. And you can just tape it. You don't have to put it in a pouch. You just tape it to the box like you would a priority mail. So pretty nice. Takes half a page on your printer if you're printing them out, just like a priority mail, label would.
Nice. Oh man,
that's the worst.
That sucks.
Yes, there is. This exists in a universe. And if we keep doing this for a while, there will probably be a lot more information on that. Basically, there is a story where the world has a group of people that keep an eye on things. There is a plan to move humanity, at least expand it. We discovered a way to travel wormholes, and it is it's a gate system. I got to come up with a fancy name for it, but that gate system, one of the colonies has been there for around 30 years, and for some reason something's going on. We lost contact with them, and they send a message. Kind of a suicide mission to get close enough to the wormhole to send a message. And that message sparks action. But most of the nations of the earth are happy with not worrying about it and leaving it be. So a group of Earth-based team, they put a small group together, gather what forces they can, and they go to the wormhole to investigate. And then what happens there is pretty kind of just basic sci-fi stuff. It is overrun by an alien race that is pretty intent on wiping us off the map. So, the good guys have to come up with a plan with what they have, what they brought with them. That's all they got. And they have a certain amount of time to do it. So you'll be introduced to characters. You won't just be, this is just a basic armor suit. And there are obviously earthbound, ground-based troops also, some spaceship designs, and a group of characters that are the leadership of this team, the action leadership. And they have one of them, the leader, has a pretty messed up history dealing with alien life forms. So you're going to find out all this stuff. They're just letting you know right now, there will be swords that can damage metal. And there is a story as to how they got them and what they do, but they're very special, and they will probably hook on the backpack like the gun does. Cool. So there's a lot of stuff that are going on, but one project I'm working on right now that I would like to have done by AR is I'm working on a T-shirt design that has this Astro suit, but looking almost like a blueprint, like a Macros shirt, like a Valkyrie. So it's just a cool shirt, a couple of KUK-Os on it, and then the design look with a blueprint kind of background. Cool picture of the armor.
Nice.
I don't want to do that. I want to do a couple of other things. Maybe make a couple of stickers. But yep, it's in my head. Like when I'm drawing stuff out and designing things, as I draw, I am in my head creating a story. I'm building the universe of what I'm drawing for. It's part of design intent, right? Like, well, is this just a suit just to make one and be like, we're done? Or is this part of a bigger universe? I want to be part of a bigger universe, So that is that. I definitely would love to do more of this. At some point, I do recognize that my position with Grindstone Toy will get us to a point where we either continue to do this or we do something official as a toy maker. For now, this is just something Mikey and I can do together and have fun with it.
Cool.
So, what about you, Mikey? Do you have something you want to talk about for an hour?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
All right. So today is just kind of getting back to sharing knowledge and doing that sort of thing. We will. What we're going to do today is give you a few items that we think are well worth picking up on Amazon or Temu or whatever. I think all of mine ended up being from Amazon because before Temu got all their U.S. warehouses set up, I had started finding the same stuff on Amazon for just a little cheaper. Or at least not worth all the free things Temu bugs you with all day long when you order something.
I could see that. Me too, Jim. Yeah. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, this is a rough time for me because like I don't have the money to buy anything. There's classified stuff hitting the market. I have the Monster Force. There's more Monster Force stuff I want to buy. It's pretty crazy. But I also I want to buy an airbrush compressor and I want to get this and I want to get that. And so it's kind of. But everything I've been doing the last couple of weeks has been focused on a couple of KUK stuff and some stuff for call sign longbow and some stuff, general stuff for Grindstone Toy. Lots of stuff that I wish I could talk about. I'm so excited about it, but right now it's all. But that's where we are.
Morning, 16. How are you, sir? Good to see you.
Good morning.
Glad you came in.
Yes,
So
please.
you want to pull up your first piece of the show, first instrument?
Yeah. So I'm not, this really isn't in any particular order, but I'm going to share. The first thing I am going to show, I know Mikey had talked about this the other day, and if you're not sure, you don't know how to pick out a brush, these golden maple brushes are not real expensive. I am going to tell you this, as an artist, you want to be good at something. The tools you use, especially painting, are probably the brush is the most important thing you'll ever mess with. These golden maple brushes are pretty decent. They have a fat handle on them with two flat sides. So, you know, if holding the brush is a problem for you, these are really good for that. I think they're better for control when you use your second finger to like turn your angle of your doing a panel line or something. These are not the best brushes.
Excuse me.
But they do go on sale a lot. You can get them in different colored handles, you know, if you don't like the black. Looks like right now the gray ones are cheap. The brushes are exactly the same. Now this set also comes with with three. They have a dry brushes.
Makeup brushes.
If your wife is looking over your shoulder, she's going to be like, "Those are makeup brushes."
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, they are.
100%.
This set does come with a very small brush that is great for eyes if you have the patience to paint eyes. I used to be able to, but I guess I having trouble with that. But those are great for dry brushing, like literal dry brushing. They're also good for if you have something where you just want to use a dry brush technique to add a little metal flake sparkle to something, just to highlight things. They're great for that. They are really good for dry brushing and laying down. If you're doing a dust layer or something, like if you're doing a tank and you want it to look like a dust layer and literally using, powder for that, they're perfect for that. They don't lay paint worth a shit, but they are good for that. They're exactly what they say they are. You can look on here. Golden Maple makes several different ones. In my eyes, you can get these. You can get some full synthetic dry brushes, and see what's good for you. And then once you find a couple of sizes that you like, save up a little money, go to Michael's, and pick some really nice sable or deluxe horsehair brushes in those sizes. There's probably going to be three. For painting models and stuff, you're probably going to need three different brushes. You're going to need a nice wide soft one for washes and wide paint areas. You're going to want a super detail and the second one from the left. That is a great brush for doing almost any fine detail or doing striping. You want something that'll allow you to do a little stripe work without holding a ton of paint in it. So there's technique to it, but you get you one of these sets. A lot of times Michael's and Hobby Lobby will have a set of brushes that aren't synthetic. You can get those and start getting used to the sizes and how the brush handles in your hand. But if you just want to get a set to mess with, I find the Golden Maples are pretty good. They are not the best brushes on the market by any means, but if you're just starting out, you don't want to invest a ton of money. And the whole purpose of this here is we wanted to come up with a few things that you can buy that aren't super expensive to get yourself started. So you don't have much of anything. You maybe have an old tester's brush from a couple of years ago. You have something that you found at a garage sale or whatever, a really stiff brush. Those are all great. You'll still probably use those, but get you this set. It'll get you to figure out what size works best for you. Some people can paint almost anything with a 1 on, with a 0. Some people can do almost everything they need to do with a 1 on. But there are some things that you just really need a tiny brush for, and some things you need like that one all the way to the left. You know. So anyway, that is my first pick.
Nice. Well, I started with the golden maples. That was the first big set of brushes I got to figure out what I was going to need. So I still have a few because I ended up, using 2 or 3 of them, and that's what I ended up doing.
Take good care of them. It doesn't matter how expensive the brush you get. If you do not take care of it, the 3rd time, 4th time you use it, you'll think it's a piece of crap no matter what you do.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, 100%. So my first intro, just use this one. They're not in any specific order. So, Calk Pastels, neutral tones specifically. I don't technically get mine from Amazon. I get mine from Hobby Lobby. But it's a hell of a lot cheaper than buying pigments.
You have a lot more colors to choose from.
You can get these, and like you say here, this is a whole set for $26, and you've got 48 different colors, and they're it's super easy to use them. I mean, I'll take them. You see it kind of nubby, and I'll just take my chisel tip and just swipe across it, generate dust, use those dry brushing, and then dry brush it. That's how my skin tones have a little pigment. As I dry brush a reddish brown over the cheeks, like ladies do with blush. It's the same. Say it's the same thing.
People have been using pastels, chalk, for detailing on military miniatures for as long as I can remember.
Yeah. Now they just bottle the dust and call it pigment and charge you 10 times the price. You can get this. I got this on clearance from the same place I buy like airbrush pieces. They had these 3 bottles, which are substantial, honestly. And it was like $6, and I was like, I'm gonna get that just to prove to myself that pastels are just fine. So that's my pick.
Ken, can you send me a link for that? I think I know what rocket you're talking about.
Nice.
Or put it up on there.
Ken, Cliff, thanks guys. It came on too quick for me to hit the mute button. I apologize.
Right now, Largo, I haven't found one that doesn't drive me crazy. But the easiest one I think to use is to get one of the ones that's on an arm that is a circle with a light on it, and just put it down. You kind of get used to looking through it. It's much easier than trying to use flip down glasses or anything like that. You can if you wear glasses, you can take them off and look right through the magnifying glass. I can't find mine right now. It probably would help on the project I'm working on.
What about a monocle? That way, if you need to look at, you just close the other eye and you look through the monocle. You think that would work for you?
All right. Let's see here. Yeah, Mikey, I sent you all the links for each one of these so you can post them, or we can put them on the chat thing.
We don't want to do that because if they click it, it takes them off the show.
If you post the link?
If they click the link, it takes them from the show to the link.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
So I'll put them in the description.
Description, that's what I meant. Yeah. we share. If I share it on the screen, that's fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My second thing is I'm gonna put two together here, but I'm gonna show you both of them. You can get X-Acto number 11s anywhere, right? I mean, Walmart has them. Dollar Tree has X-Acto number 11. That's the standard triangular blade that X-Acto knives have come with for forever. But I have found that the chisel blades are a little harder to find. The number 21, and I'll show you the other one here in a minute. This is the one. Like, I've used these, and Mike, you could probably remember these from when he was a kid. I had these all of the time. I would always have at least one X-Acto knife with one of these blades in it. It's really great for everything, right? It's good for cutting, for chopping up, tubing, cutting tubing, for getting in the corner of something. If you got a glob of something in there, it's really nice just to kind of chisel out that with this flat blade.
These little guys right there.
And the other one is the number 4. Number 4 is just about a quarter of an inch wide. It's a much more narrow. Gives you there are some things that the wider one can't get in. The wide one is great. You just, on these narrow ones, on the number 4, you really have to watch it because they are a bit fragile. So if you're digging into something and get a little carried away, there's a chance you'll snap the blade. So just keep that in mind. Just take it easy. But I'm going to put these as my second, both of these together. These two sets of blades, and this is a ton of blades for what we got here, $10. If you were only going to get one, I get the 21s. Get the wide ones. Like I said, that has been my go-to blade for as long as I can remember. But grab those. You can also buy smaller packs of these. There's a 40 pack on here that is $6. So you can get both of them, a set of each one for $12. So I always talk about blades. A lot of what I wanted to talk about were just tools, things that you use in and out, that you use no matter across the whole, spectrum of what you might be doing, especially if you're going to build a spaceman kit. Some of these are the tools you might want for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I do have the Night Creeper leader. Yep, he's available. James, yes, like Mr. Peanut. That's exactly what I think. Zakan explains here, if you click the link on it, especially mobile, Apple specifically, yeah, it'll hyperlink you out of the shows. That's why Zach and I stopped doing it.
That's why you don't put in the chat. You're talking about putting it in the chat. Gotcha.
Yep.
I sent them to you in private chat. So
I got those
to the description
I will add those. Ken says good blades are a must. You are 100% true. I probably have 6 or 7 different styles of X-Acto blades. I've got 3 or 4. I've got 4 knives here. Like I have shitloads of them.
Yeah, I mean, I have if I go somewhere and I see one that doesn't look like a total dumpy piece of crap, I'll buy it. The main difference in the knives, just FYI, is the ones you get at Dollar Tree. The guts of them are plastic. All right, the X-Acto knife, where it threads, that is steel, that's metal or aluminum. It's the same material as the outside. Buy one of the cheap ones, there's a pretty good chance when you go to cutting, it's going to bend where at the ferrule where it attaches to the blade. It'll bend right there because that's just a cheap piece of nylon type plastic. It's not even good nylon. It's super flexible. It's almost gummy, like the things you tap into drywall to drive a screw in. They're very gummy. So just remember, if you buy a $1 $1.50 knife set, you're going to get a $1.50 knife set.
For
The
sure.
blades are going to be extra brittle. They won't be as good of a steel as what you get on these other knives. And, just like Dremel bits, XActo brand blades are really the best most people can buy unless you go somewhere like Rockler that carries high-end hobby stuff more for woodworking. The stuff Rockler carries is sometimes expensive, sometimes not expensive, but those tools there's a lot of woodworking tools that they sell that end up uh, being really helpful. When I was a kid, Micromark had the best stuff ever, but over the last 15 to 20 years, they have slowly just become a place to buy Temu stuff at a markup. They have lots of hobby tools, lots of stuff out there, but it's not necessarily good stuff. It's just cool stuff or handy stuff, There's nothing wrong with that. Because if it wasn't for Micromark, I never would have had like a 6-inch table saw for cutting styrene. They at one time they were the best place to get model specific cool stuff.
And if you go with the wide tips, get one of the wide knives.
Yeah, get a nice wide knife.
Nice,
you can get the one,
large handle.
You can get the one with the handle, but they also make a straight one that is a 1/2 inch tube.
I love this one because this doesn't hurt your palm.
Yeah.
So if you're really, really pushing on something to get a nice crisp flat edge, this wide grip is just super nice. Super nice. Let's see, Dan.
Thank you, Ken, for that link.
My dad got me a really good X-Acto set for Christmas one year. I have found over the years, fine tips have their purpose, but break off easy. Yes, they do. I break one just about every time I prep joints. I break at least one because I'm in there, I'm turning it. It just, yep, you're going to break it. It's going to happen.
One of the best things you can do if you use a lot of number 11s like that, X-Acto and some of the cheaper companies make one, but it comes with a little easy dispenser and a place to just dump the blades back in. Just because the pointed ones, if you throw them in the trash, you pick up your trash and you smack it against your leg, there's, probably, I would say 50%, but I'm going to be realistic. There's probably about an 85% chance you're either going to touch the bag or hit it up against your leg and the blade will get you.
I put mine in a piece of tape and fold the tape over it. I've done that for years.
I do that with I do that with utility knife blades. I do that with razor blades. Everything.
Yep, 100%. Okay, so my number 2, second one, Emory Boards. Emory Boards. You do not have to pay for expensive sanding blocks. Buy Emory Boards. Go to Sally's Beauty Supply. Spend $5 and get a bag of Emory Boards. These are fantastic for prep. They are usually very ergonomically shaped. They're very easy to grip. I whenever I'm at like a store and I see some, I always pick them up. Emory Boards are fantastic. I use them constantly. Now I still use my thin Hobby Lobby ones. I still like these because they get into nooks and crannies that Emory Boards don't do, or that files are too aggressive. But
I almost
Emory Boards.
Those strips. I bought a couple of bags of those on Amazon at 2 different grits.
Yeah,
like a bag of like 20 of them for getting in small areas.
Yeah,
that was almost going to be one of my picks.
They're great. I mean, there's a bag of them right here. I love these. I use them all the time. But Emory Boards is something a lot of people don't think about. I honestly, for painting and customizing, I use a lot of pedicure, manicure tools. They just happen. Like these little glass containers. This is what I put any kind of cleaner in. I put alcohol in this. This is how I wash my brushes, because they have a conical bottom to them, so you're not like jamming your brush into a corner. These are sweet, and they're It's for nail prep and stuff. It's fantastic. Emory boards. I buy these things constantly.
Okay.
Jim says good tools are a must. He's been called a tool, but I don't think it was a compliment. Well, we like you. How about that? Cliff says he's gotten several items from Rockler. There you go. Yes. Modern technologies. All right. I don't have to cover that one then.
I figured you would talk about this. So the reason that it's very common on Amazon, you can get sets of this, but they're all going to be small sizes. But when I tape something up, sometimes it's nice to have this 3/4 inch in there. So that's why I picked these. They are a little expensive, but vinyl tape is better than anything else at this scale, other than masking fluid. And even then, if I was going to use masking fluid, I would still use vinyl tape and then peel it so that it leaves me a nice sharp edge from a masking fluid.
Nice.
Masking fluid is great, but
not for straight edges. It's not. It sucks for that.
It really does.
And yeah, if you're doing like camo patterns where it's just organic blobs, fucking fantastic. But if you're trying to lay stripes, awful. Awful.
But Mikey, why don't you go ahead and show the ones you get? Because if you grab them, then you can take your pick. If you don't think you need the wide one, then the ones that Mikey gets is a much has a lot more choices in the stack.
Yeah, so this is the set that I use or I have purchased. So you get 1 millimeter, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, and 4. I mean,
I got it, man. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it.
These are great. This is how I start masking. Dad and I talked about this yesterday. We mask differently because he masks the way he masked to do cars, boats, and that kind of stuff, where you lay your big stuff and then your detail on the end. I do it first, so I want thin tape, just enough to be able to put masking tape along the edge of it. So the one that I use the most is honestly the 4 millimeter, because that's, roughly an eighth of an inch. This is what I use the most, but the thinner ones, I've used for customs like Sci-Fi to do these bars on his leg. That's 1 millimeter vinyl tape, and then after I had it, I just ran glue around it to make it a permanent fixture. So yeah, the vinyl tape is so much better than masking tape. Masking tape, you're always going to have that light feathered edge. It's never going to be solid crisp. But vinyl tape, as long as you put it down right, this stuff's reliable.
Yeah, you can get you a nice little burnishing tool. That will that helps you push that edge down. You can use a coffee stirrer.
I use a pencil eraser.
Okay.
Back of a number 2 pencil. I go super cheap. Super cheap. Jacob's in the house. Good morning, sir.
Jacob, good morning, buddy.
Oh, and he switched over to an Alex Ross Green Goblin. That's pretty cool. I like that.
That's nice. I need to change my Sentinel, I guess.
There's still some holdouts. Yeah, nice edge. Paper tape will bleed 100%. That's where it's as. Thank you, War Chest. Good to see you, buddy.
War Chest. Yeah. Action Joe
Joe
Pigs.
Pigs. Hello.
All right, my turn.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Okay, I talked about these the last couple of shows. I love these. You get you a nice set of various grits between 400 and 3,000. You're going to use that 400 grit a lot if you do anything out of plumber's putty or milliput, or carve something out of wood to use. The 400 is a good cutting grit. The grit on this sponge set is really crisp. I was really amazed by it, and it's very durable. I've been sanding the insides of helmets, and I dry sanded one, stuck in the grit. I just ran it under the faucet, squeezed it a few times, and it cleaned all the grit off of like a brand new piece. So you buy this, it'll last you a while. Now for the helmets, I cut it into about 1-inch strips, knock off the corners, and then just go in it like this and just start getting the inside of it. The outside, you can do whatever. I start with 600 to get that film off of it. There is a bit of a film. The clear does not, the outside layer of the clear doesn't dry as crisp as the stuff with pigment in it. So there's a little film on it that you got to sand off. 600 will take that right off once you know you're through that, and then just switch to 1,000 and go up. Most clear coats will give you a really nice straight clear at 1,000 grit. Automotive style will do 600, but for these bubbles. But obviously, the more work you do to it, you can polish it up to 3,000 and just buff it out with some buffing compound, some extra fine.
Nice.
Oops, hit the wrong one there. Sorry.
My next one is cotton swabs. I buy these constantly. These are pointed on both ends. These I use these for so much. These
are a game changer. Cleaning up stripes when you're hand painting something, you get a little color where you didn't mean for it to go.
Yep, they are fantastic. But there's different kinds of cotton swabs. I use primarily two. This one and these microblading cotton swabs. They're thin. They are small.
I have some of these too.
About the size, about the width of a coffee stirrer, and they're only on one side. But these are fantastic. Really good. And then I end up using the sticks to hold stuff that I paint. So I kind of get a dual purpose out of them. But yeah, microblading cotton swabs and the pointed double-ended cotton swabs. $10. These are $8, and you get a shitload of them. These, like I said, I use these constantly. I use these constantly for paint prep. I use them to clean my airbrush. I use them constantly. Always using this stuff.
Yeah, I just opened mine up. I've had them for a couple of months. Just opened them up because I haven't done any serious painting in that amount of time since before I moved. So this week I was breaking out all the goodies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I use these so much.
I have a question for you, Mikey. I think I've asked you this. Talking about cotton swabs. When you do a base coat, do you do a clear coat, a varnish on it before you start weathering? We talked about this. I couldn't remember what your answer was.
Yeah, usually washes I do before dry brushing.
So do you seal it before you do the wash?
No, not typically. Usually I will do the wash and then do
clear coat and then
but it does depend. I mean, if I'm doing if I'm doing something like BDUs, like if I'm using to do a uniform, I want the wash to be on there because I want it to add depth to the material.
color.
So I seal that after the wash. If I'm doing a wash like it's actual dirt or mud, then I'll do it post.
I really want to try that wash that we saw at the hobby store.
The one that you just dunk into?
Dip it, yeah.
That Vallejo one? Yeah, I
just want to try and see what it looks like on something.
Very curious.
Frank.
Doom. What's up, buddy? Mendoza. Hello. Good morning.
Okay, so my turn. I technically would have done 4.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to end my part with a collection of items that I use to rattle can, and this may be I think this is very similar to yours. But one thing that's really handy is if you're taking something out of the box, right? Save those pieces of foam. So today I'm going to be painting some guns. I'm going to be painting some guns.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now the barrels are going to be black. These are the tips will be whatever color I paint the rest of the tip, and the back of the stock I'll probably paint black on all of them, or a different color than what the main color of the gun. All these are going to be sprayed with black that I got yesterday. So what is here? Piece of foam. Because I like it to be at least 1 inch thick. Get the 2-inch foam, some 2-inch foam. That's really nice. And honestly, if you buy like say a air purifier or something like that, where the foam is shaped like something, you can even use that if you don't have any other foam. Like this week, I have, well, by the end of the week, I will have about seven different sets of things that I'm painting, and I like to leave them on that for as long as I can. All right. Now, this is what it looks like. This is the tip. Now, what this is, I just go to Dollar Tree and I buy a bag of these. These are the bamboo skewers for $1.50, $1.25, whatever they're at now. You get 100 of them in here. All right. This is actually 200. All right. Because if you paint them, I've always done, because I used to do a lot more larger things. So I always just left them full like this. You know how long that is? So when you have like 10 of these on the foam, they rattle around, they hit each other. And then when you go to paint your details and you're leaving it on this to paint your details, then you're dealing with this 12-inch stick. So what I do, it sounds really obvious, but I just want to explain it. I take a full bamboo stick. One end has a nice point on it, one does not. Get about half. You don't have to be exact. All right. But if you do half, you're going to have 2 pieces that are the exact same size. Cut that with wire cutters, or just get a bundle of them and cut them with a saw, right? Knock your edges off so they're not splintered. And what you're going to end up with on one side is going to be this piece that does not have a point. Now you could spend 30 minutes trying to sand each one of these edges on a sander. The easiest thing to do, take your X-Acto knife and just cut this end off like this. You got this point now. You can do it, you can make a whole point, but you take this, sticks right in the foam. All right, so now you have 200 of them for $1.50. Okay, the other tip here is, as crazy as these are, to think that you're going to use them, is a good old cheap little glue gun. I think this one is a Dollar General one. I think they're $4 at Dollar General. You can probably buy this on Amazon for $3, and it'll probably come with some glue sticks. Dollar Trees that have a craft section have glue. All right. If you were really gluing stuff together, I would not recommend Dollar Tree glue to do that. But what you're going to want here is you're going to put a little dab of this glue on the end of your stick, push it into the part, and hold it. It'll cool off. Now, when you're done painting it, when you go to pop it off, this glue will hardly stick to anything you're painting. It'll stick long enough for you to paint on it and give it some pressure, but you just grab the part and it snaps right off. If it doesn't, this glue peels right off of whatever you're doing, because this is just regular cheap hot glue. There's nothing fancy about this. So $5-6 investment in the glue gun. Foam is free. $1.50 for some skewers, and you have everything you need to set up your little paint system. You can take it, if you're painting outside, you can haul that piece of foam around, take it outside, set it on whatever you're painting on, pick the whole thing up, or just pull out each piece individually and spray it, which is normally what I do. I know Mikey does something like this too. If I got multiple pieces that are fairly simple, I put them on the stick like this. I glue it, and this way I can spray all 3 of these. Just hold back, get 12 inches back, and give it a nice mist. Put it down, paint the next one, paint a couple, and then go back and put your flow coat on. I always like to put a grip coat on first, which is just a dust. That's where the quality of the paint comes in. All right, I just talked about that earlier. The quality of the paint, if it's designed for doing miniatures, that dust is way finer, and it allows the flow coat to really flow into the edges of all those little dots. If you use something like the Rust-Oleum, be aware you need to hold that fan pattern way back and spray it, and be real gentle with it, because if you don't, those little things will just compound, and the next layer you put on will just be more bumps, and you'll just have a real bumpy surface. On Deep Six, I kind of wanted that texture because I wanted it to look like it was like a heavy brass, or like they used to make those diving suits out of the bronze, and it looked like it had a hammered finish. So the Deep Six suit, I did that on purpose with it, just to experiment if I could get that. They call it hammer tone if you buy paint like that, but I don't want to buy hammer tone because hammer tone paint is designed for lawn chairs that are this big, right? I want that same effect, but 1/12 of the size. So anyway, I wanted to talk about that. Less than $10, you have everything you need to really set up a really nice, easy thing. If you got to mask those parts, you can mask them while they're on the glue stick, or you can mask them before and then put the glue stick on there, and put the glue stick on masking tape if you wanted to. If the tape, if you have a little tail of the masking tape, you could wrap it around one of those. But I don't recommend, it's really difficult to use masking tape. It will take you about an hour to put 35 parts on a piece of foam. The glue gun, 15 minutes, So that's my 5th tip. But the reason I didn't show all that is because it's things you can go with Dollar General or Dollar Tree and buy. Like I say, it's fun having really cool special things, but sometimes if it's for your prep work, for things you want to make sure are good, is your sandpaper, make sure your grit is good. If you do buy the Emory boards, make sure you check the grit, and just make sure that it's truly the grit you think it is. A lot of times, wet or dry paper, which is sandpaper that you can get wet and sand with, wet or dry paper, I feel that because I've used sandpaper my whole life, dry sandpaper, especially in lighter grits like 400 and 600, I think they're a lot smoother. Even though they're 400 pieces per square inch, it's still like how the top of it is. Whereas the wet or dry is a more chemical process, and it keeps the sharpness. So it's a little tighter grit, and it's also designed to be used in water. If you use dry sandpaper on stuff like this, you'll end up going through a ton of it. But there are, especially when you get 400 and smaller number, larger grit, right? 400 on up to 80 or any of that, depending on what you're cutting. That's when there's no reason to have that in wet or dry. For automotive, 400 is kind of your roughest thing you would want to wet sand with, so that's why most of the time wet sandpaper starts at 400. Still looking for a stone tip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Joseph, this week when I was doing stuff, I used to hot glue everything, and then this week I tried it. I did that set that is olive green. I did that with masking tape, and I did the deep six set with masking tape. And it took me a little over an hour to tape all those pieces, and then you have to go in and make sure the masking tape sticks. You know, run another stick in there or something to make sure it's tight. Hot glue took me just under 15 minutes to do the red set that you saw in that picture earlier. So for doing small parts, it's the way to go.
Yeah. All right.
What are you wrapping up with?
Lint-free nail wipes.
Oh man,
right.
Yeah, I need to get some of these.
So a lot of the times I'm good with just using cotton rounds. If I'm drying off my brush or something like that, this is fine. No problem at all. But you'll definitely see this with dealing with this. If you prepping stuff like this, there's a lot of corners to this. It's not a round surface. So there's a lot of spaces where cotton swab can get caught, and then it's going to pull fiber off. You're going to have little fibers of cotton on your part. If you're cleaning something just before you paint, you don't want to have pieces of strands of cotton in your paint. You don't want to have to worry about that. So get some of these. That way, when you wipe off, you're not leaving anything behind. You're picking up debris and absorbing liquid. These are nice because these are a quilted kind. So these are really nice. The ones I get are more like this. They're very thin. Like I said, I use a lot of nail products in customizing.
Those are super handy, like if you are doing a wash and wipe.
Yes, that is how I do that too.
Wrap that around your thumb and just get your flat areas. And if you need the corner, you can dig into the corner a little bit to pull some color out.
And if you want, you kind of fold on it. You know, you got this little piece here, and you kind of fold on it, right? You take that, and you get your hemostats, right? And like that, and then you can kind of like brush on it like that and give yourself an inconsistent pattern, right? With your dry brush, with your washes.
It by default, what it'll do is it will give your texture a pattern.
Yes.
It'll be a super random pattern.
Very random, which is great.
It's an excellent item.
So that's my last pick.
Cool.
Like I said, we'll put all this in the description. I'll get that updated tonight, and that way you can revisit this and go through the list and pick out what we said and all that kind of stuff.
I tell you what, Menjoza, I a long time ago started using mustard to do rust effects. And how it works for anybody that thinks this is crazy or ridiculous or whatever is you go ahead and put either your metal color or your undertone. You know, like say you're doing a model car and you want it to have some patina on it, but you want to look like it's been repainted. And so say it was that ivy gold, that pea green color, right? So you spray the kit, you spray the part with that, and now you just put mustard where you would say might be a rust spot, all right, or the paint has peeled off. Leave that on there. Now spray your other coat on there. let that coat dry, and just take your thumb or a paper towel or whatever and just wipe it off, and that mustard will break that surface, and you'll have the color you originally put in underneath it. I have never used it for striping and stuff, but I have used it to do like a rust or a paint peel effect, because the mustard was there and the paint that you sprayed kind of stuck around it. It makes that edge kind of raised up like paint would look, when it peels off. Like it looks like it's another layer, even though it's really not. I mean, you use the mustard to do that. I know you could do that with toothpaste, but I've never done it. Son of a Crayon Slayer says that some people use silly putty and sculpt silicone tools to sharpen line edges. Yeah, I could see how that would work too.
Huh. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's just like the salt trick. Same exact thing. They really are. There's a lot of things, if you're a Joe person, there's a lot of things that are actually really great at beauty supply stores. You can get the hydrogen peroxide if you're doing a UV whitening of a product that's old, that's gotten a little sun damaged. You can buy that peroxide at a beauty supply store. All the sanding tools, Mikey found those paint wells, stuff like that. Like a lot of the stuff, they even had the miniature UV lamps for drying nails, drying nail glue. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff at one of those stores. So don't, especially if you have something like a Sally's where they have closer to like wholesale type pricing. And if you are doing restorations and stuff, you're going to buy some peroxide. You're going to go through a little bit of that. It doesn't hurt if you can get a membership and get a little bit off after you spend some money there. The Emory boards and stuff like that, they have so many different styles, and some are more flexible than others.
I mean, at the end of the day, the people that do nails are painting and fabricating just on a very specific kind of thing, no different than us. So it makes sense that some of the tools are gonna align. We're gonna share some stuff. There should be some overlap.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good, just like talking about Temu or Dollar Tree or any of that. Don't, just because something's cheap doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to do what you need it to do.
Sure.
I was telling you guys a month or two ago about after you boil, if you throw a whole body in to boil it to take it apart, on classified figures, there's a pretty good chance, and I don't know if it's because of how the temperature that the plastic for the T-hip joint is put in there. I don't know if it just, but they all do this. If you leave them like that and you put it all back together, it's going to rock really bad. It's going to not hold its position. So you just get your little Elmer's glue and a bottle cap, put a little water in it so it can flow in there with a brush, and just run in that edge that flops around, let that set overnight, and that glue will create a washer in between that joint and make it tight again. There is a company that makes a product that is a joint tightener. I think it's called KUK-O. It's like $7 or $8 a bottle. It's thinned out Elmer's glue, guys. That's all you can smell it. That's what it smells like. It has a fancy applicator. You can get those applicators like Mikey uses for super glue. You can buy a box of those for $4. And Elmer's glue is less than $1 a bottle usually, especially. And I usually, like, after, when the school starts and they do your clearance and everything out, I'll usually buy a bottle of Elmer's glue for $0.25 just in case what I bought last year dried up,
Yep.
Stuff like that. You just never know. And a lot of this is stuff maybe we learned from somebody else, but a lot of it's just something that we saw. Mikey and I, when we go somewhere, we always look around. We're like, I wonder if I could use that for that. Well, it's worth a try.
Yeah.
Yep. So the things you don't want to cut big corners on, again, brushes, paint, sandpaper,
and Dremel bits that aren't a permanent thing.
Yeah, like, Dremel bits.
This stuff is fine. This stuff's fine. You can buy the cheap shit. It's not a big deal. I would advise you get the good ones.
Stones are not.
If these break apart, it's a fucking problem. But like I never recommend using the saw discs on the Dremel. That's the sketchiest shit I've ever fucking seen. But if you use, anything that you screw on there, like you get a lot of the kits and stuff that have buffing wheels and stuff like that you screw to a shaft. Anything that does that, I always recommend getting the good shit.
That's a perfect example. The felt buffers. I've had too many of them just basically turn to fuzz while I was trying to buff something out, and then that screw hits what you're buffing.
Fucked. Yep.
But if you buy the actual Dremel stuff, which is one of the things that I will say is that if you are buffing something out like these helmets, or if you're doing these helmet bubbles, when you buy the Dremel sets that have the full sets, there's usually a little tube of rough grit paste buffing compound.
Mm-hmm.
That's really handy for knocking film off, stuff like that. I would try it on a little piece and make sure it doesn't scratch what you're doing so deep that you have to do more sanding to get it out. But it's definitely good for a rough buff. The plastic bristle brushes that you get in those kits seem pretty worthless. But if you are just trying to polish some plastic up, you put a little buffing compound on there and just use that thing, and it'll polish ABS plastic back to a shine. So if you had, like, say on a GI Joe, you cut off the holster, cut it, sand it down 400, go through everything you would do, like to polish all the way up to 12 or 14, and then just use that plastic bristle will just cause enough friction. It's basically like you're rubbing it smooth, not cutting material to make it smooth, almost like a burn.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put it on the low speed and do that, it's just a nice slow cut. You wipe it off, check it, do it again, do it a couple times. I've had really good results with that. There are pieces in those cheap kits, even if there's just 2 bits in there you want, that's a good deal. But if you're using a cutter, if you're using a high-speed cutter, just buy the Dremel stuff. We had an episode where we talked about what bits we use. Mikey was talking about the saw blades. The HSS bits have one that is not an attachable saw. It's actually the bit has a little tiny saw blade. What is it, Mikey? About a little over 3/8 of an inch blade.
Yeah.
That's fine. These big teeth on it. You put that in there and it'll hog something out real nice. And you don't have to worry about that disc. You don't have to worry about it breaking. You don't have to worry about it cutting off. You just use it. And if you are going to use Dremel cutting tools like Mikey's talking about, I would buy the Dremel ones that have the lock snap on them. They're a little bigger blades, but they are much better quality. The carbon style blades do break apart if you're not careful, especially if you're cutting metal, like metal tubing, and it catches an edge, it'll just shred that blade right apart.
Yeah, that's true.
But that is where I would recommend high end, saying that Dremel is high end, and it isn't necessarily, but for us here in the States, it pretty much is. So definitely do that. There's also, I think we're going to try to do a segment like this every week or every show, just to kind of remind everybody, because these weren't our top 5. They were just 5 things that we found useful that we use all the time, or that we think like this is a good deal. And if I'm going to do it again, this is what I'm going to use. A lot of doing panel lines and stuff. Don't be afraid to look at the Gundam gunplay stuff, right?
Absolutely.
The Japanese have been building models for a very long time, and Gundams and mechas are very. They have perfected that hobby, and you can buy these thin pieces of metal that have saws cut out of them. They're little tiny hand saws that you can just pop out, and you can use that to do a panel line or any of that. There's all kinds of stuff out there, and a lot of times it's nice. You don't want to pay $30 for something that you're going to use one time and never use it again if you don't have to.
Right.
So we try to find, try to actually try stuff out. So that's good. We want to get back to that. We're obviously going to keep updating stuff that we're working on and keep doing that. But also the whole purpose of a couple of KUK-Os was to share, do tutorials, things like that. So we still want to be able to have dialogue with you guys. Just today, I was reminded or learned of a couple of things I had either forgotten or didn't know about. So that's a part of it. It's a huge part to me. It's why we wanted to do this. Was we wanted to share the knowledge that the two of us have accumulated. Mikey paints details. He does stuff like that. I've done a lot of straight up fabrication, scratch building. Done so much of that over the years, back before you could just 3D print something and you had to make something out of ABS and styrene,
And Bondo.
And Bondo.
A lot of Bondo. Yeah, like you said, the Elmer's glue thing, for fixing loose joints and stuff. Zakanin was talking about, he got one of the Street Fighter figures, and his hand was super loose, so he contacted Big Bed Toy Store, and they replaced it. But to fix that loose hand issue, that Elmer's glue trick works for that too. You just put some in there, put the wrist in there, and then just spin it, and it'll build up the layer on the outside of the wrist and the shaft for the hand, and you can snug that kind of stuff up.
Right.
Again, that's using something super cheap, $1 a bottle, whatever it is, and you fix something that, I mean, yeah, you got it replaced, right? But now Jerk's got it. If he wants to do it, Elmer's glue, baby. That's all it takes. Just a little Elmer's glue.
And it lasts. And if it crumbles out or anything like that, you just put another squirt in there and do it again. That's
easy,
just the way to go.
Really an inconvenience.
But that is something that has every destro that I have boiled to do the boil and pop. Every single one of them do that. On those astronauts we did out of the Buzz Lightyear kits, that's what they did. So anyway, I don't think we were talking about the kit prices. The kits are $90, shipped to you. If you want us to paint them up, like right now, I think I have a much cleaner schedule than Mikey does for doing paint ups on the armor. If you just want some basic stuff, like this Deep Six kit. This one was really rough. I put this together in 2 days, the paint and everything. Probably learned some techniques, did some different things. This needs to be gone over again, but I wanted to put it all together so you guys could see it on the figure. I bet a full blown painted kit with a painted head and everything is going to run you about $200. And either one of us, depending on who's doing it, I'm sure we're able for trades or making deals or whatever. I want everybody to have one of these, and I know with all the stuff coming out from GI Joe this month and other lines, it's gonna be tight. But like I said, I'm trying to get me a little air compressor, so I'll make a deal so I can get closer to that goal. There's a few other things this last few weeks, doing these paints, figuring out what paint I want to use from now on. And it's kind of been like, okay, well, it's not cheap, but it looks pretty necessary to me.
Yeah. And we talked about this last week. So the kit comes with a helmet that's going to look like this. It's raw 3D printed. We've talked about ways you can get this to look smooth, look clear. If you want that done, if you want the raw kit, you don't want it painted or anything, but you want this part of it done, specify that with him, and then you'll get one that looks more like this.
Yeah.
So you can get that. That way your kit's ready to assemble and you can paint. You don't have to worry about this because he's got a really nice method for this.
Yeah, really, guys, the method is 600, wash it off, 600 wet sand inside and out. Wash it off, and then 1,000 grit, wet sand, wash it off, clean it really good. Make sure you get all the grit off of there, wipe it down with alcohol. You put a nice wet layer of alcohol, of IPA on there, it will, you'll kind of get an idea of if you see any scratches or bubbles, those will show up. And some of these may have some air bubbles in them. They are not, manufactured like professionally. I would love to get to that point someday where we have a bubble that we can have just 20 of them made at a time, and they come all crystal clear and ready to snap in. But we're not there. We're not there yet. So right now we're doing everything the old school way, and it works pretty good. You can see the. Let me pop this guy back up. So this is just a couple of clear coats on over 1,000 grit. So it's pretty good. This one happens to have a little blemish in it. So I don't want to. I won't give you one with a blemish. I'll make it up.
Unless you want it, you know.
If you want the blemish,
Jacob wanted one fucked up, so he can have one of the rejects.
Yeah, we had a bunch that we were rejected from the first run, so we can always get you a broken helmet or one that you can make broken.
Yeah. I wanted to show this. Let me go solo. Okay. This is Dad and I went to a hobby shop yesterday, and I found a color that I was dying to try it out. So this blue is so cool. Well, it really doesn't help. It's metallic, and it's got just a little bit of color change to it. Now, they had other colors, but this brand is called Turbo Dork, and this is the Cool Ranch, and it is just the prettiest blue metallic. And I was like, I got to paint a kit like that just because how badass is that? So I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. This can be a little side project I'll work in between stuff, but it's nice. And this is over a dark gray kit. So if you get the dark gray kit from Dad and you paint right over it, that's what we're looking at. So that's with a dark base coat essentially because the plastic's dark. So I think that's pretty cool. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know yet, but it was too cool of a color to pass up. Blue's my favorite, and that is just, God, I'm in love with that color. So yeah, Turbo Dork. I'm into it.
Oh yeah, Jacob, you were not here earlier. Let me pop this back. That is the Deep Six version of the chest armor. Thank you. I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah, that looks pretty badass. What would you suggest if you wanted to color the helmet thermal shielded gold-like colors?
The bubble, to do the bubble that way.
Ah, okay. I see. I mean,
there are several clear.
Lots of colors.
Yeah. I know Temu has several transparent colors. I don't know if they have one that has a gold tint. I know they have yellow, blue, red, green, orange in colored tints.
Yeah, are you wanting it like gold, like not transparent at all? Because I'll say again, this Turbo Dork, they had lots of color change colors, and they had some that were kind of a gold that kind of turned into a red. and I thought that looked pretty awesome. They may have something. Citadel's metallics are really nice. If you're spraying with an air gun, this is good. Metallics brushing, it's sketchy at best. So that's going to kind of, you might have to find a spray paint. That's what I'm saying.
You would if you did want it to be like almost like a halo kind of look, you would want to spray that transparent color or that color on the inside of the helmet, and then go ahead and polish the outside with the transparent, the total clear, and then it'll look like it even has depth to it.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about it chipping on the outside, which is also a bonus. Oh, Jacob, you're still a turbo dork to me.
Jacob, when I saw the name of the colors when we were looking at them, I instantly tried to find the classic chameleon teal to purple. They did have it.
Yeah.
I say classic, 1990s classic.
Yeah, it's either that or like the candy apple. You know, those are the two metallic, the two transforming colors that every hot rodder goes to.
In the late 50s, they called it purple. It was like a really almost black blue to purple, depending on what light it was under.
And there's that root beer one. The root beer one that's like, it's brown, but in certain light, is it almost blue? I can't remember what the color is. There's a green. I can't remember. No, it's gold. It's gold to brown.
It's gold. It's gold to brown.
That's what it is. Gold to brown.
Because it looks, I don't know what you would call that look, but it looks like like a polished, like something that your grandma would have had that was supposed to be gold, and it was all burnished.
Yeah,
it did look cool.
It's still cool, but I would not want a vehicle in that color. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Where does one get? I am a big fan of Citadel's washes, and their shades.
Yeah, it's called shades.
Agrix Earth is a nice mud colored one, and then there's a Knoll Oil that's a nice black colored one. But lots of companies have them. Vallejos has some. Dad and I saw some yesterday. It's literally a container that you dip your part into, and it's just a tub of wash. How good it works, I don't know. We'll find out.
It's designed for miniatures, right? So you would take the miniature and
dip the whole figure in there.
I really want to get some and try it. I'm gonna try it on rifles.
Yeah. Guns seems like the best use of it for sure for us.
Yeah, I would. That's what I would do. Just remember, when you're using a wash like that, there's two things you can do. You can either apply it with a brush and let it do its job, which will give you the prettiest effect. But you can also use it as a literal wash and keep that cotton handy and paint it, and then rub it off so that the outside really stands out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, remember in miniature painting, they will do tricks to make something look like it almost has a glow to it, and they will use the paint and how they apply the paint to get that glow. And what that usually is you lay down a base layer, put white in the center, and then you cover it with a fluorescent version of the base layer. And it gives a glow effect, like for eyes or a sword. Mike and I were talking a couple of weeks ago about the guy that was doing blades, like a sword, and it looked like it was literally glowing. It was an amazing paint job.
Oh yeah,
it's a 40 millimeter miniature. I mean, it was just crap that looked good.
Yeah, I saw a guy do neon signs like that. He did magma, like coming up from the rock. Lots of reactor, like nuclear looking stuff, where there's like an element and it's glowing. It blows my mind. The paint
yeah,
that miniatures can do. It's amazing.
Let's see. Yeah, there's a couple of Facebook pages that are about doing that. That's all they do is talk about how to do details and glows and stuff. But yeah, first recommendation would be to get you some Citadel shade in whatever tone you want it in. I did the first payload I colored it with ultramarine blue, and then I used their blue wash. It totally changed the way the color looked, and the end color was beautiful. It wasn't what I had planned. I was wanting a brighter blue, but after I put that wash on, I was like, "But I'm just leaving that. That's awesome."
Yeah.
Marco, I would say that one color that I think is underappreciated, and I do it myself, but when I see a car in that ivy gold I was talking about earlier in the show, there's something about that green gold color that really makes me feel that era. I don't know why. It wouldn't be, I wouldn't go pick that color on the lot right now, but when I see like a Chevelle, or a Camaro or an old Satellite in that color, that makes me think that's a muscle car, or that.
Oh, it seals you into that time for sure.
It pulls you right in. And honestly, we were joking around about candy apple red, and true candy apple, 20 layers of lacquer to get at the depth. Oh man, you can't get that with a one-shot spray, no matter how hard you try, or no matter how hard somebody works to make it look that way. That's just hard work.
And you're not getting it with water-based paints. That's for goddamn sure.
Right.
That's a lacquer paint.
That is hours of spraying a layer of lacquer, spraying a layer of clear, spraying another lacquer, another clear, sanding it out in between every edge. Imagine doing that on an entire 57 Chevy 12 to 20 times. But when it's done, that depth, when you see it in the sunlight, it has almost a brown, just like a richness to the red. It's so beautiful. I love that. But a lot of the muscle car colors that came out in 1970, 71, especially Mopar, they had an entire palette. They had that color called Citron Yellow. 1971 Dodge had it. I don't think Plymouth had it. I think Dodge just had Citron Yellow. And it is, you say chartreuse, it is a very yellow chartreusey color. But I've only seen that a couple of times. I've only seen that on a Challenger, I think. But yeah, there's a lot of old car colors that I they try really hard.
Cars just don't have the bodies they did. They can't pull off the colors.
Yeah, that's right, Ninja. It's patina.
You can't paint a fucking Kia Panther pink and it pull off the same look a 70 CUDA does. It just doesn't work.
It doesn't. Mendoza, the whole patina fad is probably the best thing that ever happened to car guys.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, you'd look at a car and you'd be like, man, what could I do with that? Man, I'd have to paint it. Now I see an old truck, like an old C10, and I'm just like, shit, spray some clear coat on it and drive that thing.
Yeah. Wipe some mineral oil on it and be good.
just drive it. Drive it to every show around and be like, hey, that's patina, man. Patina.
Yeah. For sure.
Metal showing through on the hood, doesn't matter, man. That's original paint.
You got to thank the rat rod, hot rod culture for that one.
Yeah, definitely.
That's all them, man. They brought that shit. I love it personally.
And it's good because then it's great to spend your time on doing body work. I'm not knocking that at all.
Oh God, no, yeah.
But you can take all that money and time and put that in a beautiful set of wheels and tires,
drivetrain,
rechroming something,
suspension,
a nice stereo and air conditioner for the inside of the car when you're driving it to car shows.
Hell yeah.
And I think people love a good paint job, right? But people also love seeing survivors. Yeah. There's something about a survivor, man. That car's been around for 50 years. Damn.
Yep.
It's nice. Yeah, it's got some rust on it, and
Got some
paint's
cracks in
faded.
the lacquer. It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah, cars are awesome.
Agreed. Well, we hit our 2-hour mark.
We are at the 2-hour mark. Anybody have any other questions or anything you want to know? Like I said, if you do want a kit, hit me up on Messenger. I'll put one together for you and get it out to you ASAP. If there's something you'd like to see if I can do with that chest piece, there's a couple of little quick things I could do. If it's something I can do, I won't charge you extra for that, especially if it's something I think I could use again. I'm just being realistic about this. I don't want to redo the entire armor set, but all right, Turk, I gotta be honest about some things here. We have started a lot of projects, but the only cars that I have ever built from start to finish were either Cobras or a GT40 kit cars. So,
hey, you went through the process on the cow car, right?
I did. Well, it wasn't the cow car. It was a.
Oh no, it was the satellite, wasn't it?
It was a Roadrunner. It was a '78 Roadrunner California edition. Spent weeks on the body of that thing. Oh my god. I mean, a Roadrunner in that year is really just a Volare. Okay. But I spent a lot of time.
It's a fancy Aspen.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a Plymouth. It was a Volare. But I spent weeks sanding that thing, primering it. Finally, took a few days off work, and I just worked on it in the yard here at my mom and dad's place. Spray primer on it in the garage, epoxy primer, because I wanted it to last in case I couldn't get paint on it. I wanted to be sure it was a good primer that wouldn't absorb moisture. So used epoxy primer, primed it, finished it all up on Sunday night, drove it home. Monday morning, driving it to work. They come down the road. I see a calf over here, and it's a little hump in the road. I'm like, damn. Come right up over the hill, and its mama was sitting right there. A little dip. I destroyed that car. It was terrible. I had it bent the fan or the radiator into the fan. Just it had a 360 in it, so it wasn't like a I mean, for a 70s car, a 360 for a Plymouth is pretty good. You don't have the weight of a big block. So it was a trade-off. It had T-tops. I mean, it was such a great car. I paid like $400 for it. I was so excited about it. And yeah, I did that. That car was done. Mikey and I did a ton of work on a 76 Le Mans. I really wish we could have got that car to paint because it was more of a resto mod. We weren't trying to be original. We went to junkyards. We found cool stuff and put it together. And then I went to work for a kit car manufacturer, and I built. I made a set of molds for a GT40 kit car. I had an original. One of the first kit cars that were ever made came out of New Zealand. I had one of those bodies and just took measurements off of it and built a complete set of molds for a GT40. We got that built. I designed the molds in such a way that you could gel coat the paint. You could use gel coat. We use gel coat on fiberglass anyway, but I literally did it so that we could pigment the paint, and you could tape the stripes off into the mold. So when it popped out of the mold, it already had stripes on it. We built a red and black one, took it to World of Wheels that year. We didn't have the engine in it at that time. But I think I probably worked on with a team, built 3 different Cobras. one with an OG 427, and two with modern dock motors. So, and there was the modern ones used a Mark 7 rear suspension, all modern stuff. But the way that company did their frames and their chassis, you could either build it classic, or there was another set of bolt patterns to put in Mustang and Lincoln parts to make it a fully modern drivetrain. And both of those dock motors had 5 speeds. So that's what I did. So that's what we've actually built. You do 2 or 3 or 4 years. That's nice. I don't. So I don't. Every project we ever do seems to be cursed. So
to be fair,
I'm gonna say cursed. I feel like I'm blaming the universe because we up. You know what I'm saying? Like, just shit happened and it just didn't work out, or things didn't go. We were working for somebody. A lady hired us to redo her '67 Newport convertible. We spent over a year on that car, taking it apart, and she was all okay with the budget. But then when we started wanting to spend money to put it back together, she was like, I just don't know that it means that much to me now. So that was a lot of work. Now, in that process, we did learn a shit ton about the mechanicals of, that year of a car, convertible tops, and dealing with big block motors and Chryslers. Like, we learned a lot in that. That's when we, not long after that is when we learned about how to not destroy the shop by one of us being mad. And Mike always talks about how we worked together long enough that we learned that at some point we both know that it's okay to say, like, hey, dude, why don't you walk away for a few minutes? Let me look at it, and then when you cool down, we'll talk about it. That year, that was probably the year we learned how to deal with each other on stuff on a project like that we were both angry about, or something happened. We did learn that when the only thing holding a quarter panel on is the piece of metal right under the back window, maybe don't push on that. We also learned how to pull an entire back end of a '69 Satellite, like the entire back end of the car, not the rear end, the back end of the car, taillights and all, from the door back. We put it in a buddy's truck. They used a fancy pulley to put it on there. We got back to the shop and realized that we really don't have any way to get it down. So we learned a really fancy way of getting it off the back of that truck. And neither one of us died or were injured that night. So I like to think that's
true. Yeah, we didn't even get hurt.
I'm not sure how.
Will of God. That's the only thing I can think.
Yeah. There were lots of 2x10s and cinder blocks and chains.
Wheel dollies, a cherry picker.
Oh, man.
Oh,
we did it.
Fuck, that was... Oh, boy. Yeah.
But yeah, so... Crayon Slayer, Premier Motorsports is the place that I worked. It's in Kansas City. Just west of what used to be Kemper Arena, Sprint Center, whatever it's called now. Just west of there. I don't even know if they're still in business, honestly.
I'd be surprised.
I wouldn't too.
Good Lord, I would be surprised.
That makes sense, Dirk, really.
Hell yeah.
Yes, that night, by the time we called it a night, I think both of us were just so thankful that we did not have an emergency room trip.
I mean, at the very least, all of the cut edges, like none of us had cuts or anything.
No, it
was Guardian.
And I think honestly, looking back, that was the night that I realized we had found our groove and how to work with each other. 4 months before that, there'd be a hammer stuck in the wall
blood on the floor for sure.
Yeah, or massive breakage. But that was like the pinnacle of all the other things that had happened with the Newport and the Super Bees and the Coronet. Like all of that, like accumulated to that night, and it was just like that night went so well. Like it was just like, okay, I think we figured this out.
It didn't start well. We couldn't even find the guys. We were on the complete opposite end of town. Google Maps was dog shit.
It was.
That was way before we found our navigational sweet spot. Way before that.
Oh God, yeah. There's a lot you learn in 35 years, I guess.
It's true. It's very true.
So, all right. Well, thank you to everybody that showed up today. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Shout out to the replay squad.
Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. Comment. If you got anything out of this, or if you have something that you think we should be looking at.
Yeah, if you guys want us to do like, hey, tell you, George Vega, I didn't even know you were here, buddy.
Whoa.
I was gushing on you earlier.
Hey, George. How you doing, bud? Hell yeah.
Kenny, Ken, I didn't know you were on here either. I hope you didn't see that preview.
What's up, buddy?
I know you don't want to see it. You said you don't want to see it, so I got permission from the owner of that franchise to do this. So and Mikey saw it yesterday, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be just about one of the most awesome things I've put together. So it's all painted up. I started putting it together this morning, so really excited for you to get it.
It's pretty cool.
I'm doing one of those that you guys saw in the picture earlier that was on the shelf. That is a commission for Kenny. So I'm really pumped about it.
Nice.
Finally got the right paint. Finally got the right everything, and it is glorious. So I know I shouldn't gush on myself. I'm just really proud of
it. Yeah, appreciate you guys. George, appreciate you popping in, buddy.
Yeah, we do. No, earlier, George, I was talking about my inspiration wall here in the office is going to have a picture my dad painted, the picture you did for us a couple of years ago, a couple of other things on it, but stuff that when I'm doing artwork in here, I just want to be able to look at that wall and see things that inspire me, and it's just one of my favorite pieces ever. All right, I'm glad you missed the preview, Kenny. Glad you missed it.
Good.
All right. I think that's it. That's all I got. Be sure you share it if you can, and subscribe if you're not already a member of Mikey's channel.
Yeah.
So it's a good time to get you a membership, so your name's green.
Thumbs up. Comment if you got something to add. Like I said, if there's something on YouTube or Temu or something that you found super helpful, let us know. I'd like to hear that too. George, appreciate you. Absolutely. Shane, catch that replay, buddy. It's okay.
All of you guys, all you guys that show up every week, come on here. It means a lot to us. So appreciate it.
It does mean a lot.
So we will see you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, we should have a pretty good layout of what we're going to be offering at AR. I know that that is only 2 months away. So there is work to be done, and we want to get it done in a timely manner. I think Mikey's going to be having some projects sent his way that he is going to need to get done by that time.
Sounds like it, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we're gonna our setup at AR will be what we wanted, what we had envisioned at DFW. We're gonna have time. We're gonna have things ready to go, so we'll be able to set everything up the way we had envisioned it for that show. Everything's going to be done on the Astro suit. We'll have this Deep Six version available, the heavy armor version, hopefully, and the flight suit probably, and then some other goodies, the Thunder set, some other things. So, but we'll 2 weeks we'll have a lot more of that lined out, exactly what we're going to have and what we're not going to have. But yeah, a lot of you guys inspire us on some other things, so we have a lot we want to get done, a lot we want to show off in November. So
Absolutely.
that's my spiel.
All right. Good spiel. Good spiel. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting us and finding us genuinely interesting. That's nice. We'll catch you in a couple of weeks. Till then, you have a good one. All right.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Eat my short.
Go fuck yourself. You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Flush that turd down the drain. Avenge me! Avenge me!
Thank you. Thank you.